And we're live. And peace to the God. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace, brother.
Yes. Going live today with the great Muslim God, Brother Boris. Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you,
You
brother.
know, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today I wanted to do this is kind of like a lengthy bill, because I want to go on to the Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2 to the 8th question, the Bill degree, and the knowledge culture cipher, you know what I'm saying? What makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes? So, if any, did you want me to read? I can begin by reading it, or did you want to
Well,
quote
you
it?
can read or quote the lesson. If you want me to
Yeah.
quote it, I will.
Oh, okay.
But if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
read it, you can.
Hey, you sharper than me with them lessons memorized. You got lessons memorized, problem book memorized. You got, what I'm saying, Elijah
Not
Muhammad's
the whole
table.
problem book, brother. Just a few problems, but the rest,
Yeah.
I'm a good reader.
But yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, yeah, go ahead. You can quote it then, and then we'll
All
just
right.
break it down part by part and go through it to dissect it, you know.
All right. What makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes? The Earth is approximately covered underwater, approximately 3/4 of its surface. The sun and moon have an attracting power on our planet, while our planet making the terrific speed of 1,037 1/3 miles on its way around the sun. The sun draws this water up into the Earth's rotation, which is called gravitation, in a fine mist that the naked eye can hardly detect. But as this mist ascends higher and increasing with other mists of water in different currents of the atmosphere, until when she becomes heavier than gravitation, then she distills back to the Earth in the form of drops of water or drops of ice, which depends on how heavy the mist was in the current of the air it was in. There are some layers or currents of air real cold and warm, and some very swift and changeable. So when the water strikes one of these cold currents, it becomes solid ice in small round drops in form, or in a light fluffy form, which is called snow. But this water is not ever drawn above 6 miles from the Earth's surface by the sun and moon. The reason it rains back on our planet is because it cannot get out of the Earth's sphere. With its high speed of rotating around the sun makes it impossible. Earthquakes are caused by the Son of Man by experimenting on high explosion. In fact, that all of the above is caused by the Son of Man.
Yes, sir.
So you can go
When
on
I
with your
had
build, brother.
Yeah. When I had my degrees, it was like I remember in the Nation of Gods and Earths, like like some of the words is kind of worded a little bit different.
Yes.
And like in that last part, earthquakes are caused by the Son of Man experimenting on high explosion in the Nation of Islam, but in the M.G.C, it was the explosives,
Okay.
experimenting on high explosives.
Yes, sir.
In fact, all the above is caused by the Son of Man. But
Yeah.
we see in the supreme wisdom, in fact, that all the above is
Yeah,
caused
I
by
just
the
want to
Son.
say this, that when we quote our lessons in the Nation of Islam, some may think that we're making a mistake because we don't quote it the way the M.G.C quoted, but it's not that. It's that our lessons are worded differently. So when we quote our lessons, it might be different, but it's not that we're making a mistake. It's just that we're quoting it the way we received it.
Right,
And the
right,
M.G.C
right.
quoted the way they received it. So it's not that we're making a mistake. It's just a little
Yeah.
different in the way we recite it.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. That first part, just to kind of dissect it a little bit, the earth is approximately covered underwater, approximately 3/4 of its surface. In my breakdowns that I had, I put, first I was just talking about how it's very interesting that this is the next question asked by the master to his student after going over the mathematical numbers dealing with the planet Earth. Because as you know, like in the 1 to 40, the first 7 questions, deal with the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? How fast she rotates, well, how much she weighs, you know what I'm saying? So basically the messenger, I think, is trying to put us on the mindset that this is dealing with, it has feminine principle, in other words. You know what I'm saying? But uh in the Fall of America, chapter 36, entitled The Four Great Judgments of America, the messenger informs us of these uh, calamities or destructions and what each one produces. This degree, however, deals with the idiosyncrasies of the queen, the woman, the black female, and as a whole, the Black family, of course, man, woman, and child. This is, from my understanding of this degree, that's how I look at it, not just the female, but also the Black family as a whole, because metaphysically or spiritually, the man can also be looked at as playing the role of a female as well, as we have the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the mother of the Nation of Islam. So, a farmer looks for, good fertile soil to plant his seed because, of course, the earth is covered 3/4 water. You got the majority of the planet being land, but only a small portion. I'm sorry, the majority of it being water, but only a small portion of it being the land. But the man's job, of course, is to till to the soil. So his job is to plant that seed, and of course, as the seed begins to germinate, of course, his job doesn't end. He has to still be there to keep, teaching or tilling to that soil so that it could reach its ultimate perfection. Thus, of course, the nation of gods, the nation of Islam, what I'm saying, what we are. But basically, in my whole breakdown, I was just drawing similarities, basically how, of course, how the Black female is the carrier of the culture, because as the man, we teach her, and of course, she produces the nation. So basically, in what I'm trying to say is my entire breakdown of this degree, each part of it is just showing the similarities between the female and, of course, the nation, or the nation of gods that the female produces.
Okay. You want me to add on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, the lesson says that the earth, right, is covered under water. The earth here can represent the Black nation as a whole. In the scriptures of the Bible, it refers to the nation as the wife of God. So yes, the whole nation can display feminine qualities as well, or it could also represent the woman, the wife of the God. The earth here can also represent the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. For the earth is covered under water approximately 3/4 of its surface. What does that mean? Meaning that as the scriptures prophesy of the coming of the Messiah, 75% of those scriptures refer to that Messiah that would be covered under the wisdom, under the esoteric teachings, and only 25% is actually a historical personage. It deals with the literal, the land. So you have the land as being 25, and 75% is the symbolic water or the wisdom, referring to the prophecies of the coming of that Messiah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is also styled as a woman. We refer to him as the mother, right? That is about to deliver a nation, or the baby nation.
Yes,
so
sir.
I just wanted to add that as well. So,
yes, sir.
and again, let me just say that it's covered under, meaning that it wasn't revealed, because if the prophecies of the coming of the man was revealed before time, the enemy would be able to know who that man is and try to kill him. That's why it's covered underwater. It's covered under the esoteric teaching of the symbolic wisdom that has to be drawn out, right? It has to be drawn out. You can't just see it literally like the 25%, the actual words. You can see it. No, that's the covered meaning under the scripture.
That's a good good teaching. Yes, sir. I was gonna say, when you were saying that, it just made me think about, back in the days, with Dr. York's teachings, and all of these other guys teaching. They used to say, yeah, you gotta overstand, you gotta you gotta understand, it's not understand, brother, you gotta but what you said makes sense, because at the end of the day, and this is the reason why we are called Muslims. And of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's word for Muslim is God. He's saying Black God when he says Muslim, because a Muslim's job is, or his duty is, to submit to greater knowledge always. But in order to do that, you always have to stand under, what I'm saying, submit yourself to this individual who is greater than you in whatever aspect it is, but stand under him. Or as a mother, when she gives birth, even in the animal kingdom, you see the mother, the babies are under the mother after she, you know what I'm saying, symbolically. But yes, sir, yeah, when you said that, it brought that to mind, you know. Understand is the correct way that we were taught by the messenger. The sun and moon having attracting powers on our planet, while our planet making a terrific speed of 1,037 and a third miles per hour on its way around the sun. In my breakdowns, I said the Earth is inclined at a 23.5 degree plane of its orbit, and it rotates on its axis at the speed of 1,037 and a third mile per hour, while revolving around the sun at an average speed of approximately 66,000 miles per hour. This is due to the magnetic attraction between the sun and moon. The Earth is actually caught between the magnetic pull of the sun and the magnetic pull of the moon. This is what causes the Earth to spin on its tilted axis, which in turn produces the Earth's magnetism and gravitational pull. Between the black man and black woman exist these same natural occurrences. Now I draw the similarities to how that celestial work is, you know what I'm saying, from the macrocosm to the microcosm. The black man has a natural attracting power on the black woman, while the black woman revolves around the black man's knowledge and intellect. She learns from her man or her lord her true nature or purpose as the mother of civilization, and of course a goddess or a god of the universe as well, just like the black man. The black woman, the black man causes the black woman to turn on her axis until she's able to spin on an upright angle, moving closer to the essence of creation. So he's trying to stand her back on a 90-degree angle to where she's, you know, upright, as the Quran talks about Ibrahim, and it says he was a upright man. You know what I'm saying? Well, man, woman, you know, the two are conjoined. So at the end of the day, the man is supposed to, you know, help the woman to, you know what I'm saying, elevate, you know what I'm saying, and stand on that God square, just like how he's standing, you know what I'm saying? And by nature, the female is sapiosexual. You know, she's a sapiosexual being because, you know, she's attracted really to the knowledge, to the information that he's given her. You know what I'm saying? Because, of course, that information, she takes it in and absorbs that information and then feeds it back out to the nation, you know what I'm saying, or to the babies, you know. But wish I understood. Go ahead, God.
The sun and moon having attracting power on our planet. The sun here, right, can represent the light of God coming from the might of Master Farad Muhammad. He is, the sun is symbolic to him and his wisdom. So the sun and moon, the moon here represents the scriptures of the prophets, because they are considered moonlight in the absence of God. So you have the wisdom of God plus the scriptures of the Bible has an attracting power on the messenger as he is starting to revolve now around the light of the sun, right? So our planet, while making a terrific speed of 1,037 1/3 miles on its way around the sun. Now, as a baby in the womb of the woman, it goes through these stages. You have the one here representing God with the zero, right? The zero here represents a people that are considered nothing. So you have God standing beside nothing, making it 10 times more powerful, right? And it's way around the sun. So it starts to develop like the baby in the womb. It comes to the first trimester where that's where the 3 comes in. So you have the 1, the 0, and the 3, the first trimester. And then it continues to grow until it reaches a stage of perfection, which is the 7. The 7 represents perfection and unlimited progress. So this is the development of the messenger as he goes around the sun, right? Making his revolutions, growing in wisdom, right? 1,037 1/3 miles on his way on the sun. The 1/3 here I mentioned before represents that there's a group of hypocrites considered 1/3, as the scriptures refers to the dragon curling his tail and drawing a third part of the stars of heaven. The stars of heaven are the scientists of Islam, not the scholars of Islam in the world, but the laborers of Islam in the nation of Islam. They are the stars. If you look at the early writings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he refers to the ministers as the stars. Well, a third of the stars of heaven are going to fall. They will be turning hypocrite against the messenger as he is growing and growing. You will have the 1/3 following along, trying to tear him down. I guess that's it for that part.
Yeah, that's peace. That's peace. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I heard you build on that once before too, where you talked about the 1/3 of the, the stars, and you mentioned that, or that to the dragon taking down a third of the scholars. But I always knew that to be a third of the scholars of religion, or
Of Islam,
just
yeah. But I take it more
of
personal.
Islam.
I take it more
Yeah,
personal. We're dealing with our heaven. We're not dealing
right, right.
now with the outside world, you know?
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, to note, a third, like this fraction,
Mhm.
is that I remember hearing a God, this was some years back, where he talked about, Allah doesn't deal with fractions. In the mathematics, he mostly deals with, whole, like he don't deal with division, or,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
that 1/3 is because it's due to the wobble. Have you heard that? And,
I've
you
heard,
know,
actually, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the divine sayings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said that we were once a part, then a whole. So we were once a
right.
part, meaning divided. But then, obviously, when the knowledge of self came, we became united as a whole number. So I
Mhm.
understand that. Now, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, in his book, I believe it was the Book of God, he was referring to the earth um, having a mathematical imperfection, that the fractions are mathematical
Right.
imperfections, right?
Right,
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's where I heard
Yeah.
that from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What was I at? What was I at?
The sun dresses water, that's where we're going to.
Yeah. But as this mist ascends higher and increasing with other mists of water in different currents of the atmosphere until when she becomes heavier than gravitation. This mist of water in the liquid, or this mist, I'm sorry, this mist is the water in liquid form, which evaporates up into the clouds as a gas. The gas rises steadily up into the Earth's atmosphere, forming pockets of clouds. Clouds are formed when the air containing water vapor rises in the Earth's atmosphere and cools. Clouds take on various formations and range anywhere from approximately 7,000 to 40,000 feet in altitude. As the Black woman continues to rise and learns from her man, she's emotional. She's an emotional being, and there are times when she can get diverted, you know, from truth. Listening to other religions or other practices or cultures or whatever the case may be. Uh, these other practices are like other mists of water in many different currents of her atmosphere. Too many different schools of thought will cloud her mind, cloud the word again.
Okay.
She will become confused or begin to fall. At this point, she becomes heavier than the pull of gravitation. So, in that part, I basically talk about, of course, the science of the clouds, because as you know, 5%ers, in the universal flag of the 5%, Nation of Islam, the white background represents the clouds of deception or the clouds of confusion. So, just drawing that to the degrees, I see the clouds as just different teachings that, because the Black woman, as she's a sapiosexual being, she's demisexual as well. A demisexual being is one who is attracted emotionally attracted to a individual. So because she's naturally an emotional being like that, it's more easier for her to get diverted from that path of submitting, to the higher knowledge or to the greater understanding, and other teachings could throw her off her path. But again, not just on a feminine level, but also on just a nation, just talking about a newborn or a student. As students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we can get thrown off sometimes by other things in the clouds that we see. Like a cloud, you could see something in the cloud, but you can't really see exactly what it is because it's not completely transparent, you know what I'm saying? But when you see things and you think it's something else, and you may try to gravitate towards that, but then as it reveals itself more, you start to see, the deception in it. So basically, that's what I broke down the clouds as being in that portion of my degree. You
Okay.
know, yes, sir.
So the sun draws this water. Again, the water can represent the wisdom, or our own thoughts begin to rise
Mhm.
with the light of the sun, or the wisdom coming from the God. So we begin to rise, right, in a fine mist that the naked eye can hardly detect. You mentioned that this can refer to the 85%, that their eyes are basically naked. The naked eye can hardly detect. Well, you know that in the 12 jewels of Islam, we go to the build, the 8th point in the jewels of Islam. It says that let me pull it up. It is clothing. Clothing. You need clothing, which means you will not be no longer naked, right?
Right.
So the eye is naked. It doesn't have no clothing. Clothing here is the clothes of righteousness, to be clothed from the filth of civilization. And that definitely can refer to the 85% following the ways of the beast, right? So
That's
the
right.
naked eye can hardly detect, but as this mist ascends higher and increasing with other mist of water in different currents of the atmosphere, until when she becomes heavy than gravitation. So when we take it back now to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as he's developing, he's beginning to get so much knowledge and wisdom that he is now becoming heavy to be delivered of a baby nation, right? As he is pregnant with a nation, he's getting heavy now, but he must get distill now, the wisdom, distill back to the earth. Drop that knowledge on the earth. It is the water that is going to raise the vegetation up with the light of the sun, raising the rest of us, right? So it begins to rain on the dry land. The dry land here can represent those that have no knowledge, no wisdom. They are dried. So that's why we have to rain upon them with knowledge and wisdom, right? And she becomes heavy than gravitation, and let me see, in different drops of water in different currents of the atmosphere until she becomes heavier than gravitation. Then she distills back to the earth in the form of drops of water or drops of ice. I don't know if are we there yet? Did we pass it?
Yeah, that was the next part. But yeah, you can go ahead on and read it. Then she
Okay.
distills back to the earth in the form of drops
of ice, which depends on how heavy the mist was in the current of the air. There are some layers or currents of air, real cold and warm, and some very swift and changeable. So when the water strikes one of these cold currents, it becomes solid ice in small round drops in form, or in a light fluffy form, which is called snow. But this water is not ever drawn above 6 miles from the Earth's surface by the sun and moon. I wanted to stop there, right? Now, these cold currents, when our thoughts and minds reach a cold current, these cold currents can represent an emotional state that we reach. Maybe somebody died in your family and you're not up to hearing anything about God or anything, and then someone tried to teach you. You're just going to block that. You're going to turn into ice. It will not help you to raise, right? That's not the time to approach a person when they're not in the mind state to receive such wisdom. So they're in a different kind of current. But in another sense, our people are taking on different teachings as you suggested, like, for example, the teachings of Christianity that is taught by the preacher. Master Farad Muhammad referred to them as the ice makers, right? They are the ice makers. So when you begin to listen to the ice makers, you become ice. You become dead at 32 degrees. You are dead.
Yeah.
You cannot produce life with that kind of teaching, that spook teaching.
Yeah. I know you used to hear back in the days, the gods used to be like, yo, God, you stuck on 32. You stuck on 30. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
You're frozen.
yes, sir. So I'll just stop right there and let you build on your what you have.
But this water is not ever drawn above 6 miles of the Earth's surface by the sun and moon. The reason it rains back onto our planet is because it cannot get out of the Earth's sphere. With its high speed of rotating around the sun makes it impossible. In my bill, I said, due to the Earth's alignment between the sun and the moon and their attracting powers, the Earth develops a magnetic field and a gravitational pull, which will not allow the mist of water to rise above 40,000 feet or approximately 6 miles above the Earth's surface. The reason this mist distills back to the Earth is because it cannot escape the Earth's natural equilibrium or the equality, as the gods, teach, while she makes her annual or yearly revolution around the sun at the speed of 18.3 miles per second. I said the Asiatic Black woman has 6 ounces of original brain, while the original man has 7.5 ounces. Because of this, she's limited to the black man, and therefore relies, and I think I mentioned that in part in the other bill where I mentioned where she relies on him for this added, I guess this, like they, booster, if you will, the booster shot, that booster, of energy, of enlightenment, she relies on that. I wanted to ask you about that though, because the lessons say that, she doesn't rise above 6 miles above the Earth's atmosphere. But I remember hearing a minister, I'm trying to think of who this was. It was a minister out of New York Temple number 7, but he just gave another understanding to it. And he said she can actually rise up to where the black man is with his assistance.
Okay.
She can't do it by herself. In other words, like the black man, we can really be by ourselves without no female. And you know what I'm saying? Technically, because again, a male can have, be like an acting mother or female mentally. But now if you look on the feminine side, just a group of women all together and trying to gain enlightenment, they would need the interaction of a man at some point, because, well, no female is going to be like the acting man and be, her nature is not designed for her to do that. But with a man now, the woman is able to rise above 6 to where the black man is at 7 or 7.5.
Okay.
I don't know if you have heard that type of teaching before.
I've heard that before among
yes, sir.
some brothers.
Yes,
so
sir.
let me give my input on that. Right? So when the water strikes one of these cold currents, it, meaning the truth, becomes solid ice in small round drops in form, or in a light fluffy form, which is called snow. But this water is not ever drawn above 6 miles. Not all waters, not the waters that are dropping like rain, but the waters that are ice and snow. That this water is not ever cannot be drawn above 6 miles, right?
Right.
With its high speed of rotating around the sun makes it impossible. Let me see. There's one point I wanted to make here. It says it cannot get out of the Earth's sphere. Now, as I recite the lessons every now and then, certain things come up, right? I was reciting, it says the Earth's sphere, not the Earth's sphere, but the Earth's fear. It is the fear, right, that blocks our progress. That is the reason you cannot rise up, because you have fear. You got to remove the fear, and then you begin to elevate higher than you are, which is going above 6. So that's just, I guess it could be a play on words, but it's just something that, as you recite it, you just hear certain things come to you. The Earth's sphere. The Earth's sphere.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to point out that it is referring to this water, not all water. This water, the ice, the cold ice ones, and the fluffy snow. That is the water that's referring to that cannot rise above 6.
Yes, sir. I was gonna say, I heard when you said that, it brought to mind. I read an article one time where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was talking about the Earth releasing her burdens, and she said, he mentioned fear as being a part of that burden, that she's carrying or holding, and this was implanted in her from back during slavery, of course, where she had to watch all type of heinous, atrocious things happening to, right, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? When he was a little boy, right?
Right. So, he mentioned the Earth releasing this, toxicity or this burden or this, fear, yes, sir. When you said that, it brought that to mind. You were making another point,
no.
or
I was going to say that you can continue.
Okay.
I think we're
yes, sir. The last part. Earthquakes are caused by the Son of Man experimenting on high explosion. In fact, that all the above is caused by the Son of Man. To understand earthquakes on a physical aspect, one needs to first understand the science of plate tectonics. Tectonic is the knowledge of architectural geology. It pertains to construction or building causing or resulting from structural deformation in the Earth's crust, such as folding or faulting. Resulting from these may cause a tectonic ridge. Many geologists believe that the lithosphere is geographically divided into 6 major slab-like sections called tectonic plates. An earthquake is a shaking or sliding of the ground caused by the sudden movement of these massive rock plates along a fault or by changes in the size and shape of masses of rock far beneath the Earth's surface. Earthquakes are often associated with the violent activity of volcanoes. It is also known as seism or seismic activity. These shifts or plates movements are usually the result of flowing molten lava, which in turn produces volcanic eruptions. Where there is no volcano to release this buildup of energy, an earthquake will occur. An earthquake is an intensified deep vibration which can part the Earth's crust and surface layer. And it is in the Earth. So as it is with the Earth, so it is with the human, where I begin to make correlations basically with just the thinking pattern in the brain and the way the brain operates. One has to be careful of the amount of esoteric knowledge one intakes on a daily basis. This is why every prophet or messenger taught us in stages of growth and learning. What makes Allah the supreme God of the universe is his supreme mind or brain. Sometimes we think we are ready for high knowledge, and we aren't ready yet because we lack the discipline or the self-control. And I had a quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan where he once said in a lecture, knowledge minus discipline equals devil. That's powerful. Some of the early followers, of the messenger, back during the days, like some of the brothers, like who didn't stay on track with their, teachings and just keeping their mind sharp and the discipline, brothers went crazy, and I've personally seen that myself, not just the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the nation, but I'm just talking about other individuals that might have broke away from the nation. They had a piece of this high explosive information, but not being grounded in the restrictive laws, which Master Fard Muhammad said is the key to our success. It drove brothers crazy. And, we can kind of see the result of that today when you look at the conscious community and you see brothers like, young Pharaoh and some of these guys losing their minds because they didn't have the proper mother, You see what I'm saying? So they ended up, shooting off in different directions with information, not, properly, adjusting themselves to, society. So that's basically how I look at that and how that is correlated with the disturbance, what's happening, what we see going on with the earth today. Because the earth is because the black nation is troubled, the earth is troubled, basically.
Yes, sir. So let me just continue in your line here, right? In the World Book Encyclopedia, 1974, they determined that earthquakes, according to the plate tectonics theory, occur by very large subterranean plates shifting past one another. When they shift beyond the rock's ability to remain cohesive, they rupture, causing faults from ground or earth shaking, right? Now, this is probably true, but what actually causes or affects these plates to shift and become activated in the first place? For every cause, there is an effect, and for every effect, there is a cause. One major cause I would like to explore is the similar force and energy that shatters glass via high frequency or pitch emittance. The average human being can hear sound frequencies from about 20 to 20,000 vibrations per second. Dogs and bats can hear much higher frequencies than 20,000 a second. The greater the pitch, the greater the effect. However, these high pitches are not really heard by man. Therefore, the great mother's wheel, with her dynamic trumpet, is capable of emitting high-frequency vibrations into the heavens and on Earth. The silent sound values are undetected by most people, but the sound waves can reverberate vololite vibratory motion in the Earth's crust. This verily affects the crust silica matter, plates, quartz, granite, clay, or sand, to become activated or disturbed. This disturbance is like an explosion in and of itself. As the silica in glass can be manipulated by the same principle, the high effective sound will cause an explosion of some type of degree in the thing affected, thusly resulting in a shattering and or shaking event. I just wanted to add that to what you were saying. So can it be possible that the mother's wheel, when it blows a certain kind of high pitch, causes the explosion of the crystals, that will affect the plate tectonics, causing it to shake the land? I think that's a possibility, right? Now, as far as my build, let's see, where was it?
You in the bill, it mentioned, a release of high energy, and the release buildup of what? Well, go ahead. I'll finish your point.
Earthquakes are caused by the Son of Man. The Son of Man can refer to the black man in general. It can refer to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. By experimenting on high explosion. Now, we are taught that, as you were saying, that the knowledge we receive, the supreme wisdom, the knowledge is so high, right, that some of us cannot handle that wisdom, right? We're experimenting on high explosion. But this high explosion, it has the ability to cause earthquakes, to destroy the earth or parts of the earth. So when we drop this knowledge, like, let's say we are on another plane of existence, right? And we're dropping bombs on the earth. The bombs are not to explode unless it reaches a mile deep, 5,280 feet, and it explodes, and it will raise a mountain a mile high, destroying everything within a 50 square mile radius, right? This is like us dropping wisdom on our people. When they get that high explosive wisdom, it doesn't explode right away when they hear it. Sometimes it will linger on. But that wisdom keeps penetrating into the subconscious mind until it reaches a point where something may happen in their life where that knowledge or that wisdom they receive will explode in them. And that will bring about a mountain a mile high event, right? And they will destroy that civilization that they once had of the white men in their minds. They will begin to destroy that. The falsehood will begin to be destroyed, and a mountain will rise up in them. They will begin to rise up. The mountain here represents the God himself, right? So the God will begin to emanate from them. Once you destroy the falsehood or the civilization of this white man with high explosive wisdom, then the God will begin to manifest in them. Yes.
Right. You said it wouldn't rise up right away. It would take a moment or so before it actually.
I was making mention of the bombs in the baby wheels when they are dropped. They're not
right. In relation,
until it reaches a certain depth, right?
Right. Yeah, in relation to the bombs, yeah, it taken a few moments or whatever the case may be. But that, I kind of correlated that to the beginning of the bill where I talked about the seed and the germination process of the seed before it reaches the, flowering stage and the vegetation stage and the, you know what I'm saying? But yes, sir. Everything, is really given in degrees, stage by stage until it reaches its ultimate perfection, as Allah says in the Quran. And I'm just thinking back to like the little bill that I did, where I was just talking to Brother Melchizedek, and how, brothers sometimes would just get lessons. Like, I did it too, when I was a newborn, and somebody blessed me with the whole 120, I ended up, passing it off like just here, giving it to, what I'm saying? It was a few guards I did that to, but I quickly seen what, the danger in doing that. How you're damaging the individual, by giving them such high explosions, what I'm saying? Just sending them on their way without being there to watch the germination process happen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's very important. All the above is caused by the Son of Man. Yes, sir. But yeah, God, it was definitely a good bill. I don't want to hold you too much longer. You know what I'm saying? If you had anything else to say real quick before we close down the bill, we definitely got to do more of these bills on the degrees like this,
Definitely.
Me and Wakil is supposed to be jumping on one of these joints. I don't know, whenever he's ready.
Yes. But yeah, yes, it was a good build. We can definitely do other lessons, and maybe other brothers can join in as well. But it's definitely good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see the guards you had on there. Peace, great God. Yeah. But anyway, I'll leave the brotherhood
All
as
right.
I came in the greeting words of peace. We said in the Arabic language. Assalamu
Salam.
alaikum.
Peace.
Peace to the gods, peace to the earths. Peace.